Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our Monday night community race here on the Free Enterprise channel. I am Hupfin, up here in the commentary booth with Vitasia, as we have Ground Flyer handling the restream and Sheep Launcher handling the tracking. Vitasia, how are you doing this evening?
You know, it's a fantastic evening for a Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise community race. Don't you like treasure is the title of these flag sets. You know, we were talking a little bit ahead of this particular race about this flag string, and, you know, there's some interesting things with this particular set.
Yeah, I mean, I must say personally, yes, a fan of treasure. Very much in favor of it, and that's why I'm not running this seed, because there is no treasure. There's none to be found. All of our treasure chests are empty, and the ones that aren't empty contain angry monsters.
Yeah, so the K trap is turned on. So a lot of our key items, in addition to being in the regular key item location spots, also in summon locations and the treasures up on the moon. Also, every trap chest now has a possibility for a key item as well. So all of those empty treasure chests are just kind of scattered around with the ones that are trapped and where we have to pick some stuff up. Combine that, the nice thing is we're not going to get any of our top tier treasure from the treasure chests. We're going to have to go shopping, and luckily for us, everything in every shop is free.
Yep, every shop is wild, and every shop is having 100% off sale. And that could mean very, very accessible apples, if we're lucky. Or other things that might make some of this movement a bit easier.
Quick correction on that. We actually won't see the apples in the shops, right?
I did miss that bit.
Yeah, we have no J items are available in the shops. So everyone who likes to go hunting for those star veils or for sirens or, you know, even the Thor rages that have become popular just in case you need some low-level lightning spells every now and then. Nothing like that is available in the shops. We're just going to stick with everything that you can find in the American release version of Final Fantasy II, which kind of slims down our item choices quite a bit.
Yeah, I knew we were not going to be seeing those consumable items, those instant cast spell items, but I had forgotten that apples and some of that really high quality stuff is also counted as J items. So we will be able to gear out our crew relatively well. But yeah, we're going to be struggling a little bit on those consumables.
The other thing to keep in mind with this is that because everything is free and party members are still a little bit hard to come by, managing your inventory is going to be really important as well, because you can buy a stack of, 99 Artemis arrows as soon as you see them, which is fantastic and a great pickup. Looks like we start with Kane, Palom, and a power shirt. We also have the loaded loadout coming out, which is significant. Included in that loadout, if you saw all of those items that scrolled through, were a lot of those J items that you were talking about, some early cast items, as well as, very importantly, 3 hourglasses. That's just so important, especially in the early part of the game when you're running around trying to figure out where you go. If progression is hidden behind some trap chests saying, like, Eblan, and you just don't have the levels, luckily we did start you out with some hourglasses to get through some of those spots.
Yeah, Eblan Castle with the trap chests, unless you're hitting them kind of late in the game and have lots of levels going for you, you want some hourglasses kicking around. There are those curls, those black cats that will throw blaster at you, and that's unfriendly, a thing they do. So good to have a little bit of cushion and preparation on that front. We do see a Dark Knight Cecil up in the Baron Inn, being guarded by the Evil Wall, and something else as the second spot. We'll see when our runners decide to actually go after that Dark Knight.
I kind of want Dark Knight Cecil to be there, just because.
Oh yeah, that would be a lovely mirroring.
And Jabron and Dathis and Morpheus, everyone is showing us, okay, let's go shopping. And man, this Mist Village defense shop was loaded. I saw I saw black belts. I saw tons of stuff in the item shop. Artemis arrows available in the weapon shop. Just a nice place to get a lot of early starting armor.
Yeah, but also speaking of nice equipment, Zoe Vermilion went over to Agart and found the life potions in the inn shop. That's pretty much always a nice thing to have around.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like I've seen Leviathans, and then there's Sylphs as well. This is going to be the early part of the game for most of our runners. It's just going to be checking these other shops in the overworld. If you can knock them out pretty quickly, usually, I don't know, I expect somewhere between 5 to 7 minutes of the overworld shopping, just as efficiently as you possibly can, trying to get best in slot items, because it's wild at this point in time. You might as well just pick up the best available for everyone.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of kind of preparation and mindset. You want the best in slot, but that's only one item out of every given class. Are you going to find that in a shop? So, okay, what's your second best? Is that good enough? Is the third best going to be fine? We're still early in the game. What do you bother grabbing, and what do you say, I'll hold off and grab something else so I don't have to worry about my inventory?
No, and it's a legitimate question. How much do you grab, and where do you grab it? Do you allow for substandard? It's interesting, in the Silvera shop, they are both cabins and tents. So if we want any sort of rest whatsoever, you have to come to Silvera for it. And there was an Artemis bow there available also. Between the Artemis bow and Artemis arrows, I mean, there's some decent damage can be pumped out immediately.
Oh yeah, between Silvera and Mist, you have just maximum archery available to you.
Oh, big shout out to Joseph Merno, who's gifting 5 tier 1 subs to the community. Thank you so much. Jofus, I'm gonna mispronounce your name. Every time I see it, I mispronounce it even in my head. I'm sorry.
I do believe I just saw on Dathis' screen, he is indeed going for maximum archery, as he put, I believe I saw the full Artemis kit and the power shirt on Palom. Palom gets good utility as a black mage pretty early, but we're still before that, so sure, give him a good bow.
Meanwhile, our couple boss checks. We have Mylan Z, looks like in Antlion, and we also have Odin that's up on Mount Hobbs with a Cecil. That's the second Cecil we've seen. We've not seen a Crystal Sword yet, but man, in this sort of flag set where you can get equipment very, very easily, having those high equipment users, black magicians can get away with not a whole lot of magic equipment. But your Cecils, your Canes, you're going to need some equipment to really turn them on, which is honestly beneficial in this flag set, I've always thought.
Absolutely, and I don't know what equipment Possumorpheus is running, but was able to take out that Mylan Z with a single swing from Kane. So there's definitely some good stuff readily available. I'm not exactly sure what good stuff, but it was pretty good.
Yeah, just a ribbon. Oh, Stardust rods are available there on Zoe Vermilion, who's still doing some shopping. I could swear the spear that I saw Kane swinging was a Dragoon lance as well. So, yeah, just folks are absolutely kitted out already early. This is much nicer than like the Rydia Edwards seeds that I got to start with practicing.
Well, I mean, this is a setup that, broadly speaking, will favor your melee and physical damage dealers. That tends to be the case when you have a lot of equipment available to you. And when you have a flag set that pushes a lot more levels onto you, that tends to be better for your mages. But this is definitely a gear-centric flag set that we have this evening. So that Kane is going to be doing quite a lot of work. Our Cecils are going to be doing quite a lot of work.
All right, so we have Kinyatzo is attacking the Bull, and with the Stardust Rod, I don't anticipate this being terribly difficult.
He was able to usurp Baron, but he's not going to be able to claim Fabul. So he will be making sure of that in short order. using one of those Zeus rages that we started with.
If there's that Dragoon Lance that's available that we see is in Kaipo, that's just fantastic.
And a light sword coming out of the Fabul defense. This is kind of the flip side of when you activate K-Trap. That introduces a lot of possibilities for where key items could be, which means that a lot of these usual checks are gonna pay out with nothing.
Yeah, and that's, it's interesting because you can still get some pretty decent equipment from those. Looks like there's a twin that's available from the Sand Ruby, and Zoe is now going to be checking for this Cecil. Lightsaber's a nice enough weapon. I'm sure we'll find an Excalibur or Crystal Sword at some point. I'm almost positive, just based on the shopping that we get to do in the Underworld. But my goodness. Let's just see how this goes. Dathis is going to be the first one to mount Ordeals proper. This is our first objective, but everyone has been kind of running over each other's steps, checking the different shops, checking Fabul, and here we go into Ordeals. This is going to be our first Ordeals check. Normally, this would be pretty quick in terms of Ordeals, but with all the equipment that we've gathered, Stardust rods and Dragoon lances, in addition to, all the other equipment we've gotten, we'll be fine here.
Yeah, this will likely be 3 more or less trivial boss fights to get through. This will result in a much better Cecil to work with.
Meanwhile, we have Dathis just kind of hanging on for dear life right now. It is the elements.
Yeah, but already down to the Kanazo stage, which is pretty late in that fight. And yep, there's Valvolus, so Dathis will be through in short order. Morpheus actually already through. I suppose he has collected better gear for that fight.
Well, I think as Ground Flyer is saying in chat, Artie Bow solves problems. There's just so much that the Artemis Bow does.
Yep, it'll even solve the problem of this kick heard around the world as we find Yang in the back attack spot.
I swear, there's something in the code that Boardface does that this shows up here more frequently than it statistically should. Not that I'm complaining, it's awesome, but...
Yeah, I don't care how often it shows up, it's always appreciated when it does. Unless you're wondrously underkitted and have a hard time with the fight, which our runners, not so much.
Everyone so far really getting through these very quickly. Dathis even got through that fight faster than Morpheus, but those two are neck and neck effectively as we're going up Mount Ordeals here for our first objective. Jbrun right on the edge. Zoe possibly heading that way, still doing some last minute shopping. And I missed the key item reveal because they menu
so
too
did I.
fast. And this is a horrible spot for war.
Yeah, this is disappointing because this fight is always basically free. There's very little that can show up here and be in any way a threat. And so to get Water Hag, a fight that's as free bosses get, you wanted something better.
Well, and I even think that on Dathus' side, he did 1,000 damage with Artebo Palom first hit, but you can't just one-shot Water Hag. You have to go through their 3 hits.
But regardless, Dathus and Posomorpheus both threw the motivational speech. But we are still lacking in key items.
Not a single key item yet. We still have a few places to check. I mean, we have Baron in, which we can get a second Cecil, which would be fantastic. But keep in mind, we also have those trapped treasure chests. We have 3 in Eblan, and we have 1 that's available also, the worst one in the Tower of Zod, which would be fantastic for all the wrong reasons if it's there.
Yep, and of course, even without K-Trap, there is always the wondrous tragedy of D-Mist at Magus Sisters.
That just sounds horrible.
It's a classic. It's a classic. It is terrible, but it's also a classic.
All right, so Zoe now on her way up to 2 ordeals at this point, just getting through the first boss. Jaybrun getting through. We're wondering what Dathus and Posomorpheus are going to look
at. Looks like Dathus's choice is the Baron Inn. Get an additional paladin in the party. Sable Wall should not be a problem. This spot has fairly low HP. It's the second fight that you're actually concerned about.
And Cecil, for the time being, for Dathus, is rocking that arty setup. No weapon can compare. I mean, we haven't found an Excalibur or a Crystal Sword yet. But otherwise, that's not a bad setup for Cecil, honestly.
Yeah, especially against a Plague, getting that bonus damage to flying enemies. So, yeah, barely gets a countdown. But also just gets a Lunar Staff.
Ooh, okay.
So, time to see what trap chests you remember. And in this situation, I think Eblan Castle is the smarter play with the 3 versus 1.
It is. It's not quite a coin flip, but roll a d4. But more importantly, those hourglasses that we have to start off with are really going to make a difference. And Dathus, Dathus.
Going to defy the commentators. Which, is valid a lot of the time. I can't always blame you.
All right. It's also setting up, bare minimum, is back row glitching his Cecil at this point in time. Just saying, hey, just in case we ever get to that point, I would love to be able to, swing Crystal Sword from the back row. So yeah, Dathus is doing Crystalless Tower, the lowest percent chance option that he has, but I mean that's sometimes the thing you have to do in these sort of large community races. If you want to go in first place, you have to almost have optimal routing and just hope for luck at that point in time. So I like this move from Dathus if the goal is to finish in first place.
Yeah, and for all our comments earlier about the Castle Eblan trap chest being a bit rude, as we are going to see with Jaybrun heading up in there, the Flame Dog is a little bit easier. it's a bit softer of a fight. So if this is what you're looking for, then all the better for it.
Well, we shall see what date this. Nope.
The Dragoon Spear is going to go the whole way, though, and look for that D-Mist.
This is someone who very recently had to have D-Mist up here at Mega Sisters, and last location did at some point. Like, this is one of those checks that does take a little bit, but man, if you can get it in a race, there's very little holding you back from that point forward. So get a check and probably reset out of here.
Yeah, that's Eblan royalty. That's a quick reset. It's a bold strategy, as we like to say, but it did not pay off this time.
Well, there's an Excalibur in the first trap chest for Jabron, so nice for our Cecils at that point in time to get kind of a one-off Excal. But otherwise, we're going, I mean, it's got to be in one of those other two trap chests. And no key items yet. 0. I'm incredibly impressed.
And it is worth mentioning, as we're seeing folks going into the Mist Cave and whatnot, that we have had the waterfall checked as well. That was not demist. I don't remember what it was, but I do believe it was checked. It was not demist.
Shout out to Sheep Launcher, our wonderful tracker, who we were encouraging, giving words of encouragement, because track chests on 4 screens, this could be a lot of tracking tonight. And so far, first 20 minutes have been kind of a nice night off for Sheep.
It looks like Dathis apparently has not defended Fabul, so he is going to go and do that. While Jabron just keeps plowing through the Eblan Castle, handling the Black Cat fight fairly well. Not burning any of those hourglasses either, and there is a Magma Key. So there you go, middle of Eblan Castle is your route.
That's 2 down. I think you go ahead and get the third chest, just in case.
Oh, absolutely, and that appears to be what Jabron is in fact doing. You don't want to forget about it, basically.
Oh no, that trap chest. Okay, yeah, he's getting it.
And meanwhile, we do have both Zoe Vermilion and Possum Morpheus making the Zot play. Not going to work out for either of them, but again, got to appreciate the boldness.
I feel bamboozled here a little bit. Was there an agreement that everyone would do Zot before Eblan? Was there just a under the table handshake thing? Because I feel duped a little bit.
I feel like after the race on Friday, there's a community agreement to just forget Eblan Castle exists. Considering we all did that on Friday's race. But it is going to be an essential visit for these runners, so they will want to get over there soon. Jabron actually taking advantage of this Mad Ogre's fight and getting a little bit of life glitch going on. Just a little splash of extra experience for this party.
Just a little bit extra for your birthday.
Yeah, gets Palom up to Quake, so all the better.
And the Crystal
that Magma
Sword.
Key. Crystal Sword is practically a key item, but that Magma Key is the only key item we have seen in the entire overworld at this point. Everything else is gated behind some other key item.
Well, here's something interesting.
So we are looking at a really linear start.
And Jabron hasn't even done Baron Castle yet, or Baron Inn, because
that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, rocking the one Cecil. So skipped one of them. I don't know if he skipped. I think it was Baron Inn that he skipped. There is a second one also available up on Mount Hobbs if he so wants it. Double Cecils, when you have a Crystal Sword and Excalibur, can be quite potent for all the other runners, but, you know, to point of fact, Jabron is going to be the first one into the Underworld, so a little bit of an edge here.
Yeah, but it does look like Morpheus and Zoe Vermilion both right behind, doing that Eblan Castle sweep. Data's a little bit behind, checking out other locations, but I think he is on his way right now. So, yep, everyone is converging on the absolutely required location.
Slowly but surely. This is, this is just great right now. We're seeing Datha's taking some time to get everyone equipped up. Black belts, bandanas all around, plus optimal equipment for everyone. Rocking double Cecils.
And just making doubly sure that there is not a monster hiding in a pot. Because with this empty treasure, you know, all the treasure chests will be open except the ones that have monsters in them. But an empty pot and a closed pot look the same. So if something's hiding in one of those, you have to actually check. And you don't want to miss any of the fights, because we are seeing they can be critical.
How much cursing do you think is going on behind these microphones right now? Because I'll be honest, only the Magma Key available in the first round of overworld checks. I'm feeling pretty bad right now. I'm going, what is going on?
You know, I would be a bit frustrated and a bit stressed myself, but the flip side of it is that it was in a random trap chest in Eblan Castle. There's a fair chance that everyone else did everything else before they got there, so you're not feeling too behind on that front. As Jabron has gone down to the Dwarf Castle and found white spears, full moons, plenty of stronger gear, but that white spear is going to be the highlight at the moment.
Ooh, crystal rings.
You'll love to see those get that strong defense and that +5 agility. It's not quite having a cursed ring on your middle party member, but crystal rings on everybody else does help.
Absolutely. And I mean, it's such great defense too, all things said about it.
Oh, certainly. In my mind, like, the max geared out Cecil that you can have is, you know, canonically it's all this crystal gear. I swapped the crystal gauntlets for the crystal ring. I just think it's better.
And Jabron continues his shopping fest. Well, it looks like Zoe is going to be the second one into the Underworld. Not sure if Zoe picked up the crystal sword or not. Might have just gotten the Magma Key and dipped out. I'm hoping someone can double check me on that. Zoe did get the crystal sword. Okay.
Yeah, like we were saying, that's practically a key item with how strong it's going to be for our runners. Yeah, that is now 2 runners with access to the underground, and Morpheus has done all the fights in the castle, so we'll be shortly behind Dathis on the final fight. Jabron still managing a bit of shop work now over in Tamra. So we haven't seen the fights in the Dwarf Castle just yet.
We might actually be putting that off for a little bit. The warp glitch is turned on, right at the moment. And the problem is that our Palom does not yet know warp. So I can see trying to check some of these other locations first. For example, the Keyless Tower is very popular in any sort of K-trap flag set because of the 4 trap chests that are there that are relatively easy to get through. I can see us doing that and trying to grind up a little bit, just a bit, in order to get Palom that wonderful warp spell. Not that, I mean, we do have to eventually complete the sealed cave, but getting its key item out of the way is just nice.
Yep, Jabron is instead going and dipping into the Feymarch path. Feymarch and the Sylph Cave, you got those damage tiles on the ground, so you generally don't want to be opening chests unless you've been floating and avoiding that. But we know where the enemies are, so yeah, take that stack of 99 elixirs and just heal up before the chest that is obviously dangerous.
Yes, our wonderful tracker sheep launchers noting elixirs were found in Tabra, which is super nice. It's just really, really nice to have elixirs. You don't have to worry about any other curative item for HP or MP.
Yeah, and with that Quake, you don't have to worry about any other source of damage, really.
So good, especially when he has a Stardust Rod equipped. Oh!
Woohoo.
Oh no.
Well, that's very necessary, this seed.
Oh no. We've had one key item available so far in the entire world, and that's the Magma Key. And the second one is immediately available in the Underground that says, how would you like to unlock everything on the moon?
Yeah, how would you like to have pretty much the entire game open to you now, all of a sudden? It sounds nice, but then you're stuck saying, well, now where do we go? Fortunately, it does look like Zoe Vermilion made the correct decision on that front, and we'll be getting the Darkness Crystal as well. So with this objective set, we really had just 5 key items that would ultimately be necessary. We needed a way underground, Magma Key works. We will need the Twin Harp for Cave Magnus, the Luca Key for the Sealed Cave. We need that Darkness Crystal for the Ribbon Room, and then we need the Earth Crystal. So that's 2 out of 5 items.
The most difficult part about this right now is knowing that there are 9 trap chests. No, 10 trap chests on the moon, plus Bahamut, plus the altars. So let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 17 checks on the moon.
Yep, there is plenty of density, and all of it is dangerous. But you can compare that to the 7 chests in Sylph Cave, the 4 in the Tower of Babil, plus these Dwarf Castle fights, Possum Morpheus showing that one of them is pretty free. There's still plenty to do in the Underground and on the Earth as well, which really just makes routing harder. You can't just lean to where the math goes.
All right, so Possum Morpheus is showing us Kaipo Guards are the second boss in Dwarf Castle, with a Tella right there with us.
Yep, so if you can work around his low HP and low MP, he will provide plenty of utility for the party. Unless I'm misremembering, there's your source of warp, if you're concerned about that.
It is a source of warp, absolutely. Other things that are going on, we don't really have much of a grind right now. I mean, that opens up quite a bit if you think, hey, how about I just grind up to get decent enough levels and then go to the moon where no one else is going right now. I mean, that's a possibility.
Yeah, that tele does mean the D machines are available, and with no sirens, that's kind of our only major grind. We can't be going and scrambling eggs.
Oof, this is a rough spot for Antlion. It's very fast. No.
Nope. That is the Leviathan spot normally, and Leviathan punch. He punch. And so any boss that shows up there, they also punch.
And having a primary physical attacker that fast at that spot, oof. Oh, I mean, it just hurts.
And we are seeing that it was the adamant ore from the sealed caves, so no reason to do sealed cave outside of the objective. That can come as late as our runners want.
We have some run. I mean, Zoe and Jabron are diving in and are actually tackling these Sylph Cave trap chests. I mean, there are 7 trap chests in the Sylph Cave. They're not the easiest to do at these particular levels, but you can get through them if you can get some quakes off.
Yeah, Quake solves a lot of problems in here. The ghost packs are really the most annoying because even if you're using your hourglasses and stopping enemies, which is very handy against the Malboros or the evil trees, they will still get their full suite of fires off. So you're going to have to deal with 6 fire attacks anytime you see them. It's unfortunate, to say the least. Now, Jabron did get through the Malboro pair and see that it is the Earth Crystal, so we know now what Zoe Vermilion is also holding on to. That does mean those Malboros are required.
Oh yeah, because we do have to open the treasury.
Yep, though we know the rating of the treasury this evening. It's 0. It's empty.
There was also another crystal sword there that I saw that equipment was done for. Yep, there's that Jabron just saw.
Yep, and an Artemis bow in the next ghost fight. So if you didn't buy enough high-tier equipment, well, here's some more.
Couldn't work with those stacks of elixirs right now. That is just walk up to treasure chest, heal up, crush treasure chest. Alright, and the next Marlborough and Dark Tree fight. Meanwhile, Dathus just now getting to the Fey March trap chest as well. Really kind of surprised. These runners kind of went in all sorts of different directions, but have converged on these trap chests in the Fey March and in the Sylph Cave particularly. Especially when there's a lot of other locations that are open up to them. Part of this almost feels like a bit of a grind, prepping us, or prepping our party, so to speak, to get ready to go up to the moon.
Yeah, that is certainly a strong use of these trap chests. It's one thing that I like to use them for. We're not really seeing much in the way of life glitches to really accentuate that, but there's still plenty of experience to be had in all of these fights. And of course, it's proving out to be pretty fortunate that, we've gotten the Darkness Crystal and the Earth Crystal out of doing this, so it's a little more required that way, too. As Zoe Vermilion finds the last pack of ghosts. I believe the chest next to them will be Toad Lady, if I was keeping count of the encounters correctly. So that one is completely free.
All right, so Eblan coming to the same kind of 2 treasure setup. And yep, Toad Lady.
Yep, a fight that can never hurt you, it can only annoy.
Man, having all those ribbons available right now would be fantastic, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, it'd be wonderful if you could have, a ribbon on every single party member. It's also wonderful when the Toads decide to hit a single character an even number of times and nullify themselves. Which is a little more likely on Eblan's side with only 3 party members.
Just an Avenger for that one. So we've seen all the... Have we seen all the trap caves and stuff caves? I think so.
I believe we've seen 3 ghosts, we've seen Malboros and with trees, we've seen centipedes, and we've seen the Toad Lady.
Yep, that's 7. So still, with all of that, only the Earth Crystal.
7 chests, 1 key item, but man is it a key item in this seed. Dathis, meanwhile, is taking care of the guards that are down in Feymarch. Did a little bit of life glitch, as we saw, for that little extra splash. But using the free bosses option, just frog guard, so much easier to deal with. Nope, the reward for all of that is just a crystal ring, of which there were plenty available for purchase earlier, so. Not a huge benefit. Eblan is going and doing that keyless tower play.
Sheila with a glass hat as well down on Zoe Vermilion's side, so I like what Eblan's doing here. Just continuing to make efficient checks, at least in the overworld. Still only rocking a party of 3, though.
Well, it's not like he needs a lot more the way these fights are going. One-shotting alerts.
All right, we'll keep an eye to see if anything drops for Eblan. Meanwhile, Possum Morpheus getting through those self-cave checks. Dathis looking like he's going back above ground right now.
Yeah, it looks like Dathis might be following that darkness crystal.
I actually really like it. Just because if you look at the numbers game, early Darkness Crystal, there's just so much available up there. When you're playing the percentages, I like it.
Yeah, there's a lot of options, and most of them are very dangerous. But we are still looking for those 2 remaining key items, the Luca Key and the Twin Harp. So, not a terrible direction to go.
All right, so Dathus is doing the exciting up into the moon. Meanwhile, Jabron's still working through here. He has found a sand ruby. There is another twin that's available. I don't remember if it was Palom or Porum.
And of course, we don't know if he even wants another party member in general, let alone another twin specifically. Dathus really didn't want another Kane. Just left the mood entirely.
So, nah, I'm good.
Puzzle Morpheus, meanwhile, looks to be in a little bit of a state. Didn't heal up before hitting this chest. So has a lot of party members at 1 HP, namely all of them. Oh, but Jabron has found D-Mist.
Bonus round. All right.
So, of course, this will be a key item out of the battle itself, but then another one will be available at Radia's mom in the Village Mist. We don't know what those 2 will be, of course. This is a first runner to head in this direction.
So Dathus, Diving Giant, I didn't see him set up a D-Machine grind, but there is that trap treasure chest that's also in the Giant Battle. So it'll be interesting to see if Dathus takes a shot at that on his way out here.
Nah, I almost feel like that is his main plan, is to hit up the last arm. But it is possible he's setting up for a grind as well, or just taking the classic approach, and yeah, just not doing any sort of pre-manipulation, just allowing the chips to fall where they may.
Well, I guess you can run from battles right now, which was different than the recent tournament. I've got to remember that sometimes it's just easier to dive in. Was that it?
I honestly do not know. It looked like it, but there are 2 fights that start off identically. The Searcher and the 2 Beamers. One of them will give you D-Machines. One of them will just give you Centaurs. And I think Dathus is an experienced enough runner to know when he's looking at Centaurs.
I can't tell the difference.
Well, one is a clockwork dragon, the other is a horseman. So that's the main difference.
You are not wrong. No.
And Jabron is walking out of that tower with a legend sword coming off of the D-Mist fight. So again, that being D-Mist, that does have the bonus round. We don't know how much value Jabron is getting out of this, but that is 0 for 1 at least.
And D-Machine it is.
Yep, so this will be a pretty standard grind, slightly dangerous grind, but one that a lot of runners are very familiar and comfortable with. Telecasts weak. anyone else does any amount of meaningful damage. And if you're doing it right, you throw out a life pot as well for that little extra bonus. Rinse and repeat and try not to die.
It would have been nice to try to get 10 key items before needing to grind, but I don't think this seed was cooperating with us.
Now, Dathis is pretty much at the exact opposite of that scale, sitting on 2 items. And Rydia's mom was sitting on the package, which raises new and troubling questions.
Aren't you so very, very glad you parked in the back and not the front when making that check? That is why you do that.
Jabron with that Earth Crystal is going to take care of objective number 5. It'll be our first one to actually go and do that. Even though Pops Morpheus and Zoe Vermilion both sitting on that crystal can do it at any time.
All of our runners can, once they have the levels, also do objective number 4, conquer the vanilla ribbon group. So we are simply looking for the Luca Key and the Twin Heart at this point in time in order for us to be able to complete the seed. At this point, it's just about efficiency checks, I feel like.
I would absolutely agree. And the efficiency of your checks and the efficiency of your grind, and when you do one versus the other. Dathis doing this grind fairly early, all things considered. So there is that lack of efficiency with not having 10 key items, but it'll make everything else just go that much faster.
Jabron just picked up an extra Dragoon Spear and got rid of a Crystal Sword.
That's a statement that Jabron is. Jabron has made a statement.
That is, I will not have a second Cecil. I don't care what you give me here, even though there's already a second Cecil available in the seat. All right, so back here to Tower of Zot, where Jabron is making this a much more kind of efficient check. He did skip Tower of Zot the first time around, was the only runner to do so. All of the others have at least checked this at this point in time. But Jabron did not check the Tower of Zot before getting the Magma Key there in Castle Eblan, so he's doing this kind of significantly more efficiently.
We're seeing that Rydia is the character, well, the first character being held up here. We'll see who number 2 is in a moment. But this will pretty much round out Jabron's party, if only because he has 2 empty spots and has to take them.
All right, so 1 Rydia, and we shall see. Number 2 is Young. Okay.
So really 2 characters that get a lot of growth out of levels, more so than gear, but that full arty gear is going to make Rydia more valuable early on. And I hadn't actually noticed that Jabron got a lot of key items, done a lot of stuff. Hasn't apparently done Dwarf Castle. That explains the lack of Tella, and explains why Rydia is still a small child.
Oh, and our tracker, Sheep Launcher, is noting that there was another column behind the package. So if we want a full Black Mage party, we're pretty close to it.
Yeah, but at this point, with the gear that we found, I would agree with the approach that that Dathis and Posomorpheus and Zoe have all taken, and just lean into your Cecils and lean into your physical damage.
At this point, we have Crystal Sword Cecils that you can throw Avengers on, and Avenger with your Cane as well. You're hoping for a one Big Bang cycle Z fight at this point in time. With 3 melee fighters that have a significant health pool, I think it's doable right now without too much effort. You might not even need a white mage right now.
That is Jabron through the Tower of Zot, nice and easy, and picking up a pink tail for all the efforts. That is going to be a random top tier item because we have turned off adamant armor. So we'll probably not see what it is, considering we don't even have the hook, but certainly a little bit of a disappointment.
And to answer a question in chat, I do believe we have the agility agnostic flag on, so it does not matter where our Cecils are, or it's just whoever's in the middle slot is whose agility we're using. So now both Jabron and Posomorpheus are setting up to go to the moon at this point. Meanwhile, Dathis is finishing his grind.
Yep, just a casual 20, 21 levels on everybody. Just, getting up into the high 40s. No big deal.
It's not quite power overwhelming yet, but considering how many enemies we're going to have to kill, I mean, minimum, optimal strategy. We still got to open 2 treasure chests up on the moon, is what we're looking at, if that's your strategy in the grind. So we're going to be getting some more levels.
Yeah, I would say, well, Dathis doesn't have the Earth Crystal either, so there's 1 fight to get that. There's 1 fight in the Ribbon Room, and then 1 for each of the other objectives, so the literal best case is still 4 fights. You're probably doing more than 4 fights, but even so, you'll be power overwhelming by the end. Right now, you're just whelming, and that's enough.
And here's that last arm fight that is, again, another one of those one-off trap chests that can get ignored. If there's something here, it could be good news for Dathis, because honestly, unless there's a grind, I don't see anyone checking this, at least on stream, for a little bit.
Nope, this is an easy one to forget. It just gives you a Masamune, so it's worth forgetting on this seed, but smart to go and check that while you're in town.
Posomorpheus finding that second cane. Does he take him? Does he not?
Nope, no cane for him.
I mean, I like Cane, and if I can get the equipment for him, I think he's a fantastic ad.
Yeah, but I suppose Posomorpheus is probably feeling comfortable with his overall party at this point. I believe everyone except Jabron has the same party set up. And Zoe Vermilion got through her antline fight and picked up the pass.
That's interesting, because, complete Cave Magnus and complete the Sealed Cave, we're going to have to, even if we find everything up here on the moon, we're going to have to come back to Earth at some point. So that's a nice little shortcut that Zoe just picked up. Even though everyone else seems to be ahead in the straight line race, that pass can make up a good 2.5, 3 minutes time.
Yeah, and it's looking more and more like we are going to have to make the trip to the moon before we're able to complete all of our objectives. So that is a good benefit. And that was a tough fight for a lot of runners looking at it earlier, so good show getting through it.
At this point in time, we've checked all the trap chests that are available, not moon, haven't we? Like, our path is through the moon somewhere.
Yeah, we have not seen anyone go to hairdryer, but that is a moon chest. So at this point, if it's on Earth, it's behind a key item. So yeah, this is a necessary lunar visit for sure. Groundflower asking, yes, Dathis did do last arm, and it was just the Masamune. So even the giant, all that had was your grind, which, I mean, it's nice to have a good grind, but not a key item.
Meanwhile, I can't help but feel that Possum Morpheus is set up just slightly better than Jabron in doing these moon checks with the party setup. Not that he has a bad party per se, but level 1 Rydian, level 10 Kane, he's just, if he can get them up, they just need a little bit more firepower.
Yeah, these behemoths are a classic danger to deal with. They will hit anybody hard. They will hit you hard if you're wearing adamant armor. So definitely something to be a little afraid of. Just getting a Stardust Rod out of that particular check. I didn't see what Jabron got out of the first one, but it was not a key item.
I believe it was a white shirt.
Well, good gear, but again, not a key item.
I mean, it'd be nice to have someone who could equip it, you know?
Yeah, that is well, actually, because he hasn't done Dwarf Castle, his Rydia could wear it. She is able to equip White Mage gear as a child, but not as an adult. Cecil, actually, yeah, Cecil might be able to equip a white shirt as well. That one is escaping me at the moment.
I think you're right. I do think he can, in fact. But it's a sad state of affairs if you have Cecil equip your white shirt. That's like having adult Rydia equip the Zeus gauntlets. Like, if that's the equipment decision you are forced to make, something has gone wrong.
Well, look, that one, if you're sitting on 5 pairs of Zeus gauntlets, she could wear Zeus gauntlets. But Zoe is giving us the hairdryer's check, as Possum Morpheus found the tower key on the red-blue dragons.
That's a nice pickup. At least one more key item location check at this point. It's not optimal. It's not kind of where we want to go, but at least we're getting key items now.
Yeah, that is definitely, you're not leaving the moon for that. But when you leave the moon, you have that in the back of your mind as another place to go. I don't recall if Possum Morpheus did keyless towers, so if he had not, that's all the more reason to go and do it. Although I guess at this point it's not keyless anymore, but you know what I mean.
Strength ring, not... I mean, okay, yeah, your Crystal Sword Cecil is going to equip it. I'm perfectly fine with that.
Yeah, and I do believe I saw that Possum Morpheus just got the hook.
Which doesn't do us a whole lot of good, at least without the...
Yeah. We are going to need a rat tail for that to have any chance of value. It does move Possum Morpheus up to 8 key items, which is currently the largest count, although Zoe Vermillion and Jbrun both sitting at 7.
Zoe, meanwhile, is making a play for Value Cave. Oh my, I think I know what's coming. All these ribbons getting equipped.
Yep. It's time for the stand-up comedy tour.
I call him Giggle Knight.
Are we sure that isn't an actual Shovel Knight character?
I mean, it might
There's
be.
enough.
I don't know. I've never played Shovel Knight, so. All right, Jbrun just barely getting through that dragon fight. You know, and it's kind of tough. Jbrun just doesn't quite have the party set up that Morpheus has, and he's just blitzing through right now. I feel a little bit bad because Jbrun's laboring really hard and really not making a whole lot of progress. His 2 lower level characters have not stayed alive for a single fight, so they can't really gather the XP. Although Hourglass's used might be able to keep both of them up for this one.
Or at the very least, bring one back up if they get knocked down, as that Radia just did. But yeah, use those hourglasses. Take advantage of those resources you got early on. They do make a lot of trap chest fights trivial, and the Warlock and Carries is one of them.
Absolutely. Morpheus on double red D fight. Meanwhile, Lulbez does fall over. We'll see what these two end up getting.
Morpheus gets a Bahamut summon, but Zoe gets the pan. So that is 2 items hidden behind that Golbez fight. But you got to go back to Earth to see what they are, see if it's worth doing.
Nothing we've gotten up on the moon yet we know definitively is required yet. I don't believe.
That is correct. We have a couple of leads, and really that pan is our largest lead. But nothing is official yet. But Zoe is following the pan, it looks like, and heading back to Earth.
I like it. You know, if you make a gamble, my biggest pet peeve is when people make a gamble and then don't follow through. You gamble knowing that Cave Bahamut, you know, it's only a one-off check, meanwhile everything else is over in the Crystal Tower. If it pays off, keep following that gamble. Follow that instinct there.
Yeah, this is 100% Zoe committing to the bit, and you love to see it. Morpheus, meanwhile, is down right in the neighborhood of that ribbon room, so he will be getting Objective 4 checked off pretty soon. We'll see what boss is there, see if it's something that our runners need to be afraid of, or if it's another just comedy act. You know, Octomam, not the best or the worst to find here.
It could be a whole lot worse. Especially with the levels that Morpheus is rocking right now. Like, he's set. He did not have to do any grinding.
Yeah, we did see Zoe turn in the pan, getting just a firebomb from the Sylphs. That also raises new and troubling questions. But we'll see if Sheila 2 gives us anything of value. If not, I suspect there was a save back on the moon, so we'll be able to warp back pretty quick.
Meanwhile, Dathus is in the Demonist fight, and Zeron opens another chest. I didn't see it.
Zoe just got the Zeus gauntlets from Sheila too, so no value in that path, unfortunately. Possum Morpheus did find value in the Ribbon Room, both getting the objective cleared and getting the Baron Key.
Yeah, Baron Key is looking kind of strong right now. There's 2 checks there that you can do. Neither of them, I think even at this point, with the levels that he's got, lower 50s, yeah, that boss will fall over.
Yeah, but I would say at this point, again, commit to your bit. I think Possum Morpheus is going to clear out the moon entirely before heading back. So you don't want to leave 2-3 locations here, and one of them happens to be the required item.
You're right. I'm just not entirely sure how many, because there are 10 trap chests up here on the moon, 1 on the path, and 9 in the Lunar subterrain itself. I lost count of how many trap chests Possum Morpheus and Zeron have each opened.
Same. And I feel like at that point, you just walk it, and you accept that you're going to lose a little bit of time if you're diving the lowest levels of the subterrain for no benefit. But diving that room was a benefit. There is your twin harp.
Hey, now that's absolute value now. Now, between that and everything else you've gotten, you're starting to wonder, do I go ahead and go back to Earth?
Yeah, we are now looking for 1 key item. We are looking for that Luca key. We know of the location of all but 2 of our key items. The Luca key and the rat tail. So at this point, we have the knowledge to say, the numbers kind of push it back to Earth. But of course, Possum Morpheus does not have all that information. He doesn't have the pan, doesn't have the pink tail. Plenty of checks on Earth, but plenty of things that could also still be up here.
I mean, statistically, you could go back down to Earth now. There's still enough here that I think you do want to clear out the moon before you make that dive, either way. Lunars, and he's swinging for the fences, getting his Avengers rolling.
I mean, the Crystal Sword against D-Lunars, it's kind of a stacked fight. Even in the Ogopogo spot, it is nothing to be worried about. You just have to survive a couple of swings. Unfortunately, you just get a long sword out of the deal. Not anything valuable again.
Yeah, not only did the Cecils both have crystal swords, but also the Dragoon Lance on Kane. So, yeah, swing for the fences at that one, boys.
As Dathus showed us the room where he would hold his treasures, if we had any.
And Dathus wins chat's hearts by actually letting us rate the treasury officially as a 0 of 10. Motion to name all 0 of 10 treasuries Dathus treasuries.
I don't know, I feel like that might be a little rude to Dathus.
You're fair, that's fair, okay.
I'm not saying don't do it, I'm just saying... we have camaraderie here. We have fun here.
I'm just laughing at now. Zeron, meanwhile, looks like he's finally got some levels, working his way through everything that Possum Morpheus was just doing.
Yep, as Possum Morpheus goes up to the Wyvern spot. None of the chests along the way had anything, so do think he's cleared out the moon in terms of trap chests. This is just hitting up a boss spot to tick that off.
Right, and at the Crystal Sword altar is Val. Okay.
Meanwhile, Zoe got her tower key, having to deal with another inventory fight.
Inventory bosses, horrible. Meanwhile, Morpheus does get through the Crystal Sword altar, just on a roll right now, just a Rune X.
Yeah, so I think that clears out the moon across all of our runners. I think we've seen everything. So that Luca key is hiding somewhere on Earth that has now been opened up, which basically amounts to Cave Magnus or the Baron Castle.
Or Tower.
Or yeah, the super cannon. Actually, Possible Morpheus diving back in may have left one or two spots. Oh yeah, did not do the pale dim spot.
Yeah, I hadn't seen anyone go through that kind of branch of the subterranean. Although I wouldn't be surprised if someone had done it. I just missed it.
Oh, and there was a chest hiding here all along.
Oh, Sheep Launcher is telling us no one has checked this spot yet. So, got the red giant fights, and Possum Morpheus's strategy has just been, I have Crystal Swords and I have Avengers. Just do it. Just let Cecil swing for the fences. It's the simplest strategy, and really, it's power overwhelming at this point.
Gets an apple as the reward. I don't even think he took it.
Groundflyer pointing out that, oh yes, that hook does play into something else, in that there is a trap chest in both Cave Eblan and in Upper Babel.
So yeah, that hook actually is valuable without that rat tail. And yes, Possum Morpheus is indeed checking the pale dim spot. We can tell because there's pale dim.
Vanilla.
I mean, yes, if of any of the dragons in the game, that one probably would be the most vanilla.
Just an assassin dagger. All right, I think Possum Morpheus has cleared out everything except Cave Bahamut now, so we'll likely go and do that before returning to Earth.
Yeah, unfortunately, well, we'll see. The pass was on Antlion in the Fey March. That is a fight that Dathis is going and doing right now, but not one that I would expect Possum Morpheus to do, if I'm being honest. So he may have to come back to Earth, or back to the moon rather, to finish up this seed. Whereas Dathis and Zoe Vermilion are going to have that advantage of a one and done moon trip.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It's going to get much closer as we get closer to the end of this race. We're at the 1:16 minute mark now, and I do feel we're getting close. We only have like one or two more branches to check. But you're right, that pass could make the difference here as we're getting towards the end.
We'll also note that Jbrun sitting at now 11 key items, if I'm counting correctly. So we saw he's got plenty of levels on his party overall, and that is going to be the story of this seed. We were saying at the beginning that a seed, a flag set that gives you a lot of easy access to gear is going to lean towards your physical damage dealers, and one with a lot of levels will lean towards your mages. This is looking like anything can go, because we're going to get so many levels just over the course of doing it.
And that's typically the story of K-Trap anyway. You know, you're going to over level because you have so many more fights that you have to get through.
Yeah, it does make Dathis' decision to grind a little surprising in retrospect. It has made a lot of his fights easier because he's got the levels kind of prematurely, but you were going to get those levels anyway.
Meanwhile, Possumorpheus on his Lulbez fight. Dathis now returning to the moon. Zoe and Jbrun working through the D-Lunar fight simultaneously.
And both of them having not much trouble with it, with their respective strategies. I don't know if that elixir actually does anything to the D-Lunars. I think this is not one of the Final Fantasies where healing items on undead is an instant kill. But I'm actually not sure what his approach is with this.
I have no idea either. Oh, he's wanting to do... Okay, I see what's going on.
Well, 2 swings of a crystal sword is what's going on.
I mean, that's what should be going on, yes. With that, Possumorpheus is returning to the world. Still yet to do the Troya Treasury, but we'll be able to at least complete Cave Magnus. I imagine, you know, if tournament running has taught me anything, it's always do your objectives. But he's going to go for just pure density right now. Looks like going to be turning in that pan. We know that it's not going to lead anywhere.
Yeah, but it is, as you said, a reasonable density play. I do think Jbrun is now done with the subterrain outside of the Paladin branch. And the Wyvern spot. So that's 3 locations left for him to check, and is not going to get a terrible lot out of it. But Zoe Vermilion does get the Twin Harp, so that is 1 step closer to completion.
Most of the runners at this point, the puzzle has been solved. I mean, we are still just looking for the Luca key at this point in time, which we know is somewhere buried on the Earth, locked behind, we presume locked behind something on the moon. We've done all the checks on Earth that we can do without it. So right now it's just kind of a straight line race, clearing out the moon and then returning to Earth and seeing where you go from there. It's been an interesting race, I would say, from the start. Early Darkness Crystal, man. That's just always going to be a coin flip, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, that's the sort of thing you look at and you're like, can I go and handle that now because I probably want to? but it's dangerous up there, so I probably don't want to. And that's where your skill as a runner really gets a chance to show. If you can handle the moon under-leveled, under-geared, then you're going to have an advantage in a lot of situations. And I think this would be one of them, with how expansive the moon's offerings have been.
I think you're absolutely right in that regard. With a caveat, I do think that, we all have biases built into our games that, whether conscious or subconsciously we do. And this past tournament with Highway to the Three Miss Zone, whether we realized it or not, it always felt like the moon was haunted throughout the entire tournament. So it scared people away from doing those early moon checks, even though statistically in this particular flag set, it was the right play to make. I wonder how many people, after we finish, we'll ask folks how many people dodge the moon because of that inherent bias in their gameplay.
Yeah, versus, just the mindset of clearing out the Earth while you're there, then clearing out the underground and just getting a chunk of the game out of your way entirely, and just naturally letting the moon be last as a result. But Zoe Vermillion is following that tournament advice. Do your objectives. Cave Magnus is an objective, and so here we are. We'll get through this a little bit with the Dark Elf, and then we'll get to hear what Edward is jamming on tonight.
DJ Spoonie B in the house.
That is some wonderfully calm demon slaying music with the Kakariko Village theme.
Does look like, though, Papa Morpheus found the goods. From that tower key was the Luca key. So Papa Morpheus is now in go mode, and this is going to be over very, very quickly.
Yep, Zoe has the equipment, so can get go mode as well. Just has to go and do that tower key check. Jbrun actually is also in the driver's seat in that front, but doesn't have much of that information. Dathis still has to get that tower key. Should be showing up in any of these trap chests any moment now, just has to get through it all.
And Zoe did get the rat tail from the sealed cave, and I worry that's going to send her down a much worse rabbit hole right now.
Does look like it. Yep, that is a trip up to Damsian. So this is just a bit of time lost. I would worry about then taking a trip over to Baron. Because, again, density, but that's not where you need to be.
Well, and then the two trap chests that are in Castle Eblan or in Cave Eblan and Upper Babel. I mean, if you're already needing to use the hook now, I mean, you just follow that up? I don't know.
You might. That is your density, but it won't be correct, unfortunately.
I mean, that's Rando. Rando's gonna.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this is firmly in the category of good but incorrect plays, and Rando gives you a lot of those.
Hey, did you need any more levels?
Well, after you do the alt gauntlet in Sealed Cave, probably not.
Oh no. And you
This will be a batch of. Nope. There are lots of flying enemies here. This is just a batch of random encounters taken from the Sealed Cave and taken wholesale, so that they have their normal stats, their normal abilities, etc. The normal experience return, which is not actually terribly high here. But it's just a slog of fights to go through. The plus side is it doesn't have the incredible speed of the evil wall, so you don't have to deal with that.
Zoe is going through and doing, this is Cave Eblan. Oh boy. Jay Brun, meanwhile, is going to be doing the arm search in Giant Battle. Luckily, that chest is pretty early, so he's not going to have to do a full dive there.
Yeah, that's a pretty fast move, and that is Dathis with a tower key, so Dathis just has to go down and do the 2 bosses towards the end of the subterrain, and we'll be good to go. Of course, he doesn't know that yet, has to go through quite a few fights before realizing that.
So he finds another cane. All the heavy armored boys are all playing today. All right, so Morpheus does get through. And now, it does look like Zoe's continuing to try to find that. Morpheus right now is in the driver's seat, though.
Yep, he has completed Objective 3. Still has 2 and 5 to go do. I don't believe he went and opened the treasury. But that is a pretty quick one, and he is sitting on the twin harp, so can go do number 2. Those are neighbors.
And you might as well save opening the treasury. Looks like, I mean, the rough part is he doesn't have the pass. So if he found, I think he was saving it for last. If I happen to find the pass along the way, they could do that and go real quick. So I like the thinking there from Morpheus. He'll do it eventually, and then he'll go to the moon.
Yeah, that pass was in a rather rude location, being in the Feymarch King spot with Antlion as your fight. So you're not going out of your way to do that battle. It's not worth it mentally. And Zoe Vermilion learning that the Cave Eblan is not worth it at all. Neither of those trap chests are bringing you anything, so it's down to the tower, looks like.
Yeah, it's the only check left. I think that Zoe can do.
There's Baron Castle, but...
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. That is a smart move to skip that one.
I think
even though that is 2 item locations.
Yeah, and at this point we know that they're the pigtail and the spoon right now, right?
Nope, those have been found. The Baron Castle is empty. It's got nothing.
Oh, well, that's fun.
All the more reason to not go.
So just so we're being perfectly 100% clear, despite there being, key summon, key trap, all the key item locations that you can possibly max out the way the settings are at right now, we have still managed to check every place, haven't we?
Does appear to be the case, yes. As Zoe Vermilion goes and gets go mode, Morpheus will give us a little reprise of the Kakariko Village music.
All right. So
yeah, that high magic defense still applies at the Dark Elf spot regardless. So you can't just one Quake at Owl.
unfortunately not, but this is still relatively quick. This is, Ground Flyer's got a good question. Zoe's got the pass. V may be in the lead. I mean, it's so tight between Morpheus, who still has to do Troya Treasury, but then do a full walk on the moon, versus Zoe, who also has to do Troya Treasury, but just has to complete the sealed cave and then has the pass right there. So they're going to be very close. Both of their levels are very, very good. It is worth noting that no one has finished. So there's roughly 20 racers in this community race right now. We featured 4 streamers, but no one has claimed first place yet. Both Morpheus and Zoe are going to be right there in the top runners, I feel like.
Agreed. I would say the biggest benefit that Morpheus has right now is that the sealed cave boss is the Fabul Gauntlet. That is going to make this even slower. And yes, trudging through the Lunar subterrain without that pass, that is a long trek. Walking or warping back up through the sealed cave, not as bad of a trek, but you still have to deal with these 5 encounters.
Morpheus also doing a lap around the treasury because memes.
I mean, hey, we're racing for first place, but we're also racing for first place in the viewers' hearts.
The party setup. Oh, okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say. Meanwhile, Jabron is showing us the boss that was at the top of Babil, which is Mom Bomb. We know the second fight will be Dark Knight Cecil.
It's really kind of interesting, when we're comparing Zoe and Morpheus. They're on the right side of our screens. Zoe is going straight. I got Avenger, she's 4 fighters deep. Don't even worry about healing. And the Dead Tella almost the entire way. Morpheus also has the Dead Tella, but has 3 Avenger fighters, plus Palom, who has absolutely saved time through fights. But if we're talking Zeromus, you're just pumping out damage as quickly as you can. That Palom might be a hindrance at that point in time. Not sure.
Yeah, it's gonna depend on the strats. I really think Zoe, if you're going to quint Zerk at any point, this is kind of the party that you do it with, and it's kind of happening automatically. At that point, you just Berserk Tella, and you're good to go. And that might be the strategy to go with for this seed. We've got so many levels, we got so much gear. Zeromus is not long for this world.
Chat, we're gonna need some energy once Zoe gets the Zeromus. We're gonna have to hope for the quint.
But of course,
Meanwhile,
before we can even get to that... Oh, no, go ahead.
no, you started. Please feel free.
Oh, I was just going to raise a very important and very common question, as our chat is definitely fully aware of, fully pondering themselves. Zeromus is Zeromus, but we can't just leave that be. We can't just leave well enough alone here. So Zeromus is also one of 450 plus different things, different characters from games, from movies, from internet culture, from abstract concepts. So, whose butt are we kicking?
It's a question as old as time itself. What's the meaning of life? And whose butt are we kicking?
Yo, it's possible those are related questions, but we may never know. I'm a commentator, not a philosopher. As Posomorpheus is down in the crystal segment of the lunar subterranean, so very close to Zeromus's throne domain. I don't know. I assume being a butt that we can kick that he sits on something.
Zoe is still turning it in. Oh no.
He's right behind, though. This is not going to take terribly long, and that pass is an instant warp. So yes, Posomorpheus will be the first to show us whose butt we are going to kick, but it will come down to our battle strats.
Even Zoe, for the memes, was showing us exactly how exit on Tella, don't walk down. It's like I was heard.
The cries echoed out across space and time. Use exits, please.
Setting up the party to just shift higher attack power into Avenger. That I don't know if it's necessarily a glitch that's intended, but you know the stats of the previous weapon stay on when you throw an Avenger on.
Yep, and as Zoe is heading through the path, Posomorpheus is showing us the fight against Showdown. A showdown.
That is an amazing sprite, by the way, Scala Kitty.
Yeah, Scala Kitty is responsible for a great deal of the sprites that we have in here. And yes, this is Shodan from a System Shock. That's a nice vintage reference, a nice callback.
All right, and here's where it comes down. Zoe is just starting to fight. Posomorpheus has a bit of an edge at this point, and just wailing away. Whoa!
Whoa! How about that finish?
Did we even get one big bang off? Like, I honestly want to know. I saw a nuke.
We did not get that was a 0 big bang.
Oh, wow. GG's. Posomorpheus.
Yeah, and that is...
I was going to say, that is good enough for first place in the entire community race with a time of 1:41.42. GG's, Posomorpheus. Wow.
Yeah, so there is a script on Zeromus that refills his HP after a certain point. But if you just hit really, really, really hard, it can't even do that in time.
And joining us now, I believe, is Possum Orpheus. GG's, man.
Thank you, thank you. Behold the power of Crystal Sword Cecil ×2.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with Sheep Launcher in chat. That was possibly the fastest Zeromus fight I have ever seen.
Oh yeah, there was zero chance for Z. I don't know what he could have done to even try to survive. I kind of feel bad.
I mean, it was a zero Big Bang.
Oh yeah, I mean that was the goal by just throwing direct nukes as well. I was just going to make sure that Z died as quickly as humanly possible, and it worked.
How did you feel about the remainder of the hunt, though, having to scour the moon for all of your key items?
I generally play K-Trap anyway, so I usually do things like 10 or 20% treasure chests, so this is not unusual. It's kind of, for me, what I enjoy, so it's nice to see it work out today instead of with the Legacy event, for example, where I made every wrong choice. Tonight it was nice to make a couple good ones.
It seemed to me that, the early part of the game was really interesting with only the Magma Key available. And then the first key item, it feels like once we get to the Underworld, is the Darkness Crystal, which opens everything up. Talk about kind of your thoughts, when things open up that early, especially in a K-Trap seed like this.
With the sheer density of items that are on Earth, with the Sylph chests, where as long as you can get Palom to RA1, you can get a Quake off and just knock everything out in stealth, makes it nice and easy. Just slap an Avenger on and you can directly kill all the eyeballs in the lower tower. Just knock out every possible check you can quickly on Earth. And then once you have the levels, decide, do you want to do something like a Fame Arch, or do you want to head on the way up to the moon? So I kind of followed that normal script, and it paid out really nicely this evening.
Absolutely, and while we're talking, we did have Zoe Vermillion finish with a time of 1:43.56, but is good enough for third place, as Bad Karma has taken second with a 1:42.51.
Yeah, close finishes, wow. So GG's to Karma and Zoe as well. And thank you for everyone putting on the show this evening. Thank you to Hupfin and Vitasia for doing comms. Thank you, Ground Flyer, for the flag set. This was a lot of fun. I hope y'all enjoyed the little treasure walk that I believe we kind of made an unspoken agreement in the race room beforehand that we were going to all do that.
Well, I can assure you, you and Zoe definitely both did that.
Awesome. Glad to hear it. And thank you for Sheep Launcher tracking as well. With 4 people and this much stuff, that's an undertaking deserving of praise in itself. So thank you to everyone as always. Y'all are amazing. Happy New Year to everyone coming up. And y'all have a blessed evening. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much. That was Possum Orpheus. Be sure to give him a follow here on Twitch. Him and all of our other runners. It's always brave folks who jump up on here for the community races. Meanwhile, we are joined by Zoe Vermillion. Zoe, how you feeling after that? GG's.
I'm feeling pretty great. I feel like that was one of the strongest races that I've ever run.
Yeah, we were expecting towards the end there, it was you and Possum Orpheus kind of neck and neck. Possum Orpheus kind of managed to zero Big Bang the Zerobus fight, which helps, but you're taking pretty different routes for a lot of it and still converged pretty close at the end there.
Yeah, well, that's good company to be in. Possum Orpheus is a fantastic racer. Did great in Highway to the 3 Miss Zone, so I'm happy just to be mentioned in the same sentence as him.
And I would say, like, your path through this whole scene was very, very thorough, it felt like. And we can kind of see that from your item collection. Mm-hmm. But that spared you from having to do a lot of double dips to the moon or what have you. But you did make a couple of those gamble plays that we appreciate. Diving out kind of early to make the pan checks, for example.
Yeah, so ultimately looking at the finish times, those kind of gambles could have gone one way or the other. In a big group race like this, I feel pretty comfortable making them. Like the early flame dog check, I wasn't planning going back to Zot at any point, and I figured if there's something here and there's like maybe a hook in Castle Eblan, I'll be happy to have already gotten it out of the way. The biggest thing that I'm like really happy about was when I got my 10th key item on the moon, and so I stopped checking the trap chest and I was going to come back for them. And I found that twin harp. And I was like, well, let's just go. Let's just take what I have, and I'm not going to come back to the moon. And I felt like that was definitely the right call.
Yeah, considering you already had the tower key at that point, which wound up being the path that you needed.
Yeah, right there at the end, I was debating tower key versus the Baron play, because Baron is 2 key items, but tower key has me just right there underground. And so I was hoping, I was like, if I get it, I can just fly straight down to Sealed Cave. And that's what happened. And I was very, very happy with that turn of events. I don't know if Dathis kept to our gentle person's agreement, though, to go into the empty armory or treasury.
I don't remember if Dathis and Jabron both did it. I know one of them did. They even did the nice little loop. But I'm misremembering if both of them did. They both did? Brilliant.
Awesome. Yeah, no, it's always a sight to see an empty treasury, and then obviously there's no reason to go check Job Dwarf, but I had to do it for the people because we're here to have fun.
Oh, of course.
Speaking of those gentle person's agreements, it also felt like everyone made the same agreement to go check Flame Dog before Castle Eblan.
That's really funny.
3 out of 4 of you on the stream, I'm not going to name names who didn't, but it felt like everyone checked Flame Dog first, even though it was like you all came up to the same decision at the same time. I'm like, okay, clearly people are going to run the numbers and go Eblan, but no, 3 of you may be liars.
That's really funny. I'm glad that I'm not the only one who made that poor play, I suppose. But yeah, no, this was great. I believe Grand Flyer came up with this flag set. This is a fantastic flag set. I'm very happy with it. I'm going to just kind of kick back and enjoy the rest of my evening. Thank you all. Thank you to the commentators. Tracker, I can't remember who's tracking. I think it's Sheep Launcher tonight.
Indeed it is.
Yeah. Hey, I can remember things. I'm a good lead, I promise. So thank you all so much. And GG's to Possum Morpheus. And I've lost the race room. Keep it second. Bad karma. GG's for both of them topping my time. And it's great company to be in top 3 with both of you, taking a podium slot. So everyone have a wonderful night.
Well, GG's again, and thank you for agreeing to be on the restream. And that was Zoe Vermillion taking 3rd place overall, 2nd place on our screens. Meanwhile, we have had Antidale taking 4th place overall with a time of 1:49.40. And we have had Dathis and Jabron just kind of getting through their objectives. Dathis is through Cave Magnus and just has to do the Sealed Cave, which means has to go and do that super cannon room.
Oh, and here comes the problem. Dathis is going to make the same problem that Zoe did, unfortunately. And okay, got the rat tail. Follow that up with, gonna get the airship or the hovercraft. Turn that in. Oh, this feels bad.
It's again, it's a good but incorrect play. And that's how randomizers like to go.
To be fair, I think that's one of the reasons that I like randomizer speedrunning more so than just kind of vanilla speedrunning, because it's more about not every choice is going to be the statistically correct one, or there's greater things that you have to think about on the fly as opposed to more rote muscle memory, I suppose.
Yeah, it's the difference between being able to improvise and being able to master something. When you're speedrunning a randomizer or a roguelike, you're really adapting to your situation and learning how to do the whole overall thing as well as you can. Whereas a more structured, scripted game, you're getting that muscle memory down, you're getting the precision, and you can do more precise things. Nobody's going to step route free enterprise. Although we came kind of close during the 3-miss zone with our D machine manipulations. But they are very different experiences, and we see a number of runners of the vanilla game, people who speedrun Final Fantasy IV just normally, not randomized. And they come into this community and play quite well, and do very interesting approaches because of that.
Meanwhile, Dathus is following up the pan route right now. Chebron ready to go. All 5 objectives done.
Yep, just lacking that pass, so can't warp through. We'll have to grab the big whale again, but I guess checking this rat tail to see, maybe I get lucky, maybe the pass is here. No such luck. It was on that antlion in the Fame Arch, but again, can't blame you for taking a peek.
That's a coin flip. You spend, what is this? 30 to 45 seconds to save potentially, up to 3.5 minutes. It's not a bad gamble, especially if you haven't seen, the pass up to this point in time, and you've made so many checks.
Yeah, and at this point, like if you're watching the race room, you didn't take first overall, so maybe your mindset shifts away from the gambles to win a community race to one that's going to be more thorough and solid overall.
All right, so Jbrun now on the path. This might come down to another neck and neck race, just depending on if Dathus. Oh, I don't know. He's not going to find the Lunar Key and get down there. Now that's probably too long.
Nah, there's enough climbing time in this tower and then in the sealed cave. I do think he's on the direct path at this point, being in the tower and all, but it's just too much to traverse. So Jbrun is on his way to our showdown. Dathus will be making quick work of Magus Sisters. This is not a meaningful fight for anybody really. Very low HP spot, so no matter what boss you get here, it's usually pretty free.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, you've said enough. Not worth talking about.
I mean, they can be quite rude in other locations.
Having, that's a horrible spot for Water Hag because you have to go through the cutscenes. But it's also a horrible spot for, goal beds. Because,
oh, yeah.
You have to go through that cutscene regardless.
Yeah, or even, Ogopogo Leviathan, they have their opening attacks that do percentage-based damage, and they will get that off before you can knock them out in most any situation. So it's not dangerous, it's annoying at that point.
Look at those levels, 60. Level 60 for Cecil.
But as Jbrun is making that final trek, we have had a number of other finishers come in. Invenerable has taken 5th with a 155.28. Jeebus has taken 6th, 155.42. It's right behind. Harumph has taken 7th with a 157.09. And Solaris takes 8th with a 157.23. We're starting to get a lot of clustering among runners as they all finish up, as everyone's converging to the end.
Well, and this makes sense because, this was one of those, 55 out of 55 checks had to be made at some point. So there's only so much time. Everyone, and this is just a shout out to the community, the level of play that we've seen in these community races, not that people were doing poorly before this past tournament, but the level of play has really increased quite a bit within the community since from the recent tournament, I think. So everyone's doing very, very well. There's only so much room to give at this point. Like, you can only spend so much time running around. So we're going to see some clustering as people all just run out of spots to check.
Yep, and a case in point is Gambit 017 takes 9th place, 158.42, just as Jbrun is getting into the Zeromus fight himself.
Jbrun has enough levels. This might be another Zero Big Bang fight.
It's not out of the realm of possibility, but this is a more mixed party. You got 2 meaningful physical damage dealers, 2 meaningful mages. You've got Middle Cane, who's there.
Oh, he's starveiling himself up to reflect, so yeah, might not get it set up.
Here is Shodan, and here's a quick bluff from Palom just to make our magical attacks that much stronger. Because why not, really? And Athos is dealing with that alt gauntlet in the sealed cave.
It's a rude alt gauntlet. I mean, it's not that the enemies are particularly difficult, but because you have that flying sense, you can't just quake them away. And there's quite a few kind of strategies throughout the game that really lean on quake. So that's a significant roadblock depending on how your party's set up. Oh, we just had a flurry of finishes.
Hey.
We had a Slippery finished in 10th place at 2 hours 52 minutes, and then Flurry 14 at 2 hours 55 seconds. So just within 3 seconds of one another. I'm sure he's never heard that pun before either.
Yeah, maybe I should have held my pun reaction for after the pun was actually revealed. Up until then, it was just like a private joke inside the booth.
I felt like I had to wind up into it a little bit. Jbrun is doing something interesting. He's actually using his Rydia as a curer with Asura in order to keep everyone up. That's an interesting strat.
Mm-hmm. It's risky because of that whole, third of the time Asura will do life instead of a heal. That's probably not what you want to do. But when it does heal, it heals pretty well.
There are rocks. Jbrun is just about done as Dathus is walking his way out, completed the final task. So he is on his way. He has that pass. He will be fighting Shodan very soon. But Jabron does finish in 12th place, 2 hours, 2 minutes, 27 seconds. GG's.
So we'll see if we can get him in for a quick chat as Dathis heads off to the fight himself. It sounds like Jabron is having some audio issues and will not be able to join us for an interview. That's totally fair and always everyone's prerogative. So we'll just throw him another GG as we watch Dathis head into the pass door and go off to fight Shodan.
I did not get a peek at Dathis's levels, but given that he dedicated some time to grinding up, I suspect he's at the power overwhelming stage as well.
Yeah, I would expect as much. Considering our other runners were at pretty high power levels without a grind. So Dathis should just be in that much better of a spot.
Double Cecils and a cane. Oh my gosh, they have over 4,000 health. Yeah.
That's a large number.
That is unusually large, yes.
An HP bar of unusual size.
All right, we need everyone in chat. Just give your love and support to Dathis. He's still doing very well in terms of the community race.
Yeah, as we said, we had at least 20 runners this evening. I didn't catch the exact count, but we have a decent number of folks who participate in these. And if you're watching and are interested in giving this a try, we run these every Monday and Friday, rotating the flag set. I say rotating, we're changing it up every week. It's never the same thing. But these are open to anyone who wants to participate. Just hop in the Discord and get involved. And we also have a swarm of other clubs and community race events that are a little more consistent on their flag sets that run throughout the week as well.
And don't worry if you're just a spectator up to this point in time where you know the game, but you just like watching and you've never really played the game. This community is one of the most helpful of all the speedrunning communities that are out there on the internet, and just one of the best internet communities out there, bar none. So if you're worried or nervous about joining up, I hope to assuage those fears. Feel free to join, ask questions. There's so many people ready and willing to help you out.
There's another shake from Zeromus. Dathis nearly through, but Commander Leonhard has sniped and taken 13th with a 207-17. But there come the rocks.
Yep. And that Cecil's swinging. There we go.
Yep. That gets Dathis 14th place overall. Time of 2:07:52. GG's to Dathis. We'll bring him in and see what he has to say about that seed.
Two. So
Yeah, I feel like there were more though.
Yeah, I think
so.
it felt like there were more.
Yep. Oh yeah, Showing Rivers is not streaming right now.
Awesome.
Okay, I think we're back. We're good. So where were we, Dathis?
There was enough crystal swords. That's all that matters.
It's true. I was going to ask you about the grind that seemed, by the end of it, completely superfluous.
Absolutely unnecessary. Yeah, I was still expecting like, hey, we'll find these key items real quick, right? Maybe I won't need to open every single trap chest in existence. It was also so that I could get through the Sylph Cave chests a little bit quicker. RA1 Palom doing Quake was more than enough to get through those. So without those stupid spirits getting off their a massive amount of spells.
Yeah, those ghost fights in particular in the Sylph Cave are like the most annoying thing to me when I'm running K-Trap.
Worst.
Yeah, because it's like you really have to have that precise timing and that RA1 setup, or else you're just eating a bunch of fires that you don't want to.
Yeah, or a mute bell, which was not in any shop. So, plan B.
I made this mistake at the beginning of the broadcast. I don't know if mute bells are J items or not, so I don't know if they could have shown up.
They are J items. They absolutely could not have shown up.
Yeah, it's like everything that you want is not available unless you beat up some monsters for it.
I completely forgot about that because I was doing my shopping and I'm like, where's like my apples and everything? This is T Wildish. This is not Wildish for me. Thankfully, the elixirs panned out for everything else, so that's all that matters.
Yeah, those elixirs were vital gear.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say vital. They just made healing so much faster as opposed to cabining everywhere.
Well, vital for speed then.
True, and which is very vital. Oh yeah, that's where it was. It was in Summon Monsters. Yeah, I did Summon Monsters after Dwarf Castle because my first thought is I need a fourth character. I need my fifth character. Let's see who it is. Oh, it's the gift that keeps on giving. Here's an anchor and a grind if we need to get things quick. I'm very sad the fact that I never actually grabbed the Porum, so I didn't really have a way to berserk those poor Cecils with their crystal sword just kind of sitting there. Did anybody find Avengers anywhere? Because I never found them. I never checked a weapon shop after getting those crystal swords.
There were a lot of Avengers. I'm actually now surprised that you didn't have any.
What?
Yeah.
That's where most everyone else's strategy. They were just swapping Avengers onto crystal sword Cecils and letting them fly.
But of course, as I say that, I don't remember where they were. If they were in a shop or if people just kept coming across them by doing the right checks.
I didn't know they had to have been in shops because I've checked every single. The only trap chests I didn't check were hook route.
Oh yeah, and those had nothing of interest. So yeah, it had to have been in a shop somewhere. I'm gonna blame the moon.
It's always the moon's fault, man.
Yeah, just blame the moon.
I'm down. All right. Other than that, how's thing? Do you have any final thoughts about the seed, the race, community in general?
So this is the opposite of what I call my favorite kind of seeds, because there's no chests to loot except the trapped ones. Everything's in the shops. When I'd rather get my loot goblin in from the treasure chests. But no, it's a nice little opposite take on last week's community race, which was still really good. This is a fun set of flags. I'm excited to see the Friday salty run back, and I'm really excited to see how the routes diverged once everyone kind of got underground access.
Yeah, I will say that once everyone got underground, the first 20 minutes was a little boring for Sheep Launcher, but after that, I think he got his workout tonight.
That's good. But no, that's pretty much all I gotta say about it. We'll let you guys wrap up and take it away.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Dathis. Yeah, that will do it for us for this evening. Thanks again to Sheep Launcher for taking care of tracking. And to Ground Flyer for coming up with this flag set, rolling the seed, hosting the restream, all of that. And to Vitasia, my co-commentator, for helping out in here as well.
Absolutely. It's always a pleasure working with you as well, Hup. And again, big shout out to everyone who ran the race in the community and our team behind the scenes. It does look like we're getting ready to send everyone over to Randomania 2, and they are doing a Final Fantasy 1 randomizer. So show some love for our FF Rando friends. Thanks so much, everyone. We'll see you at the next race. Have a great rest of your night.